तर्हि की So let us start with the foreign body of the ear. Now, first of all, the types of the foreign body. Basically, there are two types of the foreign bodies. One is the animate foreign body and other is the inanimate foreign body. तो animate foreign body क्या है? Animate foreign body is always a living foreign body. कोई भी जो है वो कीड़ा हो सकता है, मच्छर हो सकता है, जो भी लिविंग चीज है, that is known as the animate foreign body. Inanimate foreign body are always non-living. And again, this inanimate foreign bodies are divided into two. One is the hygroscopic and other is non-hygroscopic. तो हाइग्रोस्कोपिक फॉरेन बॉडीज वो फॉरेन बॉडीज हैं जो एब्जॉर्ब करती हैं वाटर को, जैसे सीड्स हैं. अगर कोई सीड कान में चला जाए तो इट विल एब्जॉर्ब द सिक्रीशंस फ्रॉम द एक्सटर्नल ऑटरी कैनाल. These secretions are always watery, so they absorb it, they swell up, and when they swell up, they become impacted into the external auditory canal. So hygroscopic foreign bodies are those foreign bodies which are commonly impacted into the external auditory canal. Impaction का मतलब ये है कि बिल्कुल ही foreign body फंस गई external auditory canal में, वो निकल नहीं रही. So this is known as the impaction of the foreign body. So inanimate hygroscopic foreign bodies are the common foreign bodies. They become impacted into the external auditory canal and they are very difficult to remove. Non-hygroscopic foreign bodies वो foreign bodies हैं जैसे स्टील है या कोई भी जो है वो चीज़ मेटल है, स्टील है, प्लास्टिक है, तो ये सब चीज़ें जो है वो non-hygroscopic foreign bodies में आती हैं. So basically animate, that is the living foreign body, inanimate, that is non-living foreign body. Again, these are divided into two: hygroscopic, which absorb water and swell up like seeds, and non-hygroscopic, which are like metal, plastic, or anything like that. In the clinical features, common foreign body into the extraordinary canal is either in the children or in the mentally retarded persons. उनको पता ही नहीं चलता और वो जो है वो अपने कान में फॉरेन बॉडीज डालते रहते हैं. So commonly the foreign bodies are common in children or in the mentally retarded persons. Sometimes history is present when a child comes with the mother or father, his mother or father or her mother or father knows that the children have put the foreign body into the extraordinary canal. But when the mentally retarded persons are there, then there is no history of foreign body. Then you have to diagnose that whether it is a foreign body in the extraordinary canal or not. So history may be present, may not be present. There may be the pain whenever there is foreign body into the extraordinary canal. Why there is pain? Because it puts pressure on the skin of the extraordinary canal. There are sensory nerves. These sensory nerves are stimulated and they cause the pain. Deafness. What type of deafness the foreign body will give? There are two types of deafnesses. One is the conductive deafness, one is the sensory neural deafness. कंडक्टिव डेफनेस वो है जहाँ पे साउंड कंडक्शन में डिफिकल्टी, एक्सटर्नल ऑडिटरी कैनाल से लेके और मिडिल ईयर तक जो साउंड कंडक्शन होती है उसमें अगर एबनॉर्मलिटी हो तो इट कॉजेज द कंडक्टिव डेफनेस. एंड व्हेन द नर्व्स आर इन्वॉल्वड, जैसे वेस्टिबुलोकोक्लियर नर्व इज इन्वॉल्वड और द कोक्लियर नर्व इज इन्वॉल्वड, then it will give rise to sensory neural type of deafness. So इसमें चूँकि foreign body external auditory canal में है, तो it will give rise conductive type of the deafness. And there is tinnitus also, which is the ringing type of the sounds into the ear, because the external auditory canal is totally blocked, so it gave rise to tinnitus. There is again reflex cough, so many children or mentally retarded people, they come with the history of the foreign body with the reflex cough. There is severe cough, and we say that this is a reflex cough. From where the reflex occurs? It is the auricular branch of vagus nerve, which supplies the extraocular canal as well as the cuff centers and the vagus nerve, which also supply the chest and the lungs. So it is a reflex. This is started with the auricular branch of the vagus nerve. It goes to the cuff reflex, the cuff centers into the brain and into the chest with the lungs. So whenever there's an irritation of the auricular branch of the vagus nerve, it gives rise to the reflex cough. Then again, there is a bleeding from the ear. Why there is bleeding? It may be the sharp foreign body which can give rise to the bleeding, and it may be that during inexperienced removal, try of removal of foreign body will give rise the bleeding. So it is not the foreign body in commonly it is not the foreign body which causes the bleeding, but it is the removal which causes the bleeding. Now, if there is a foreign body into the extraordinary canal, then what will be the treatment? Definitely, the treatment is removal. You have to remove the foreign body, but there are different methods to remove the foreign body. अब वो मेथड क्या हो सकते हैं? मेथड जो है ब्रेन प्रोब भी हो सकता है, जिससे हम फॉरेन बॉडी रिमूव करें. वी कैन यूज सक्शन, क्लियरेंस कर सकते हैं, सक्शन के थ्रू जो है फॉरेन बॉडी रिमूव कर सकते हैं. We can remove the foreign body with the ear syringing also. We can remove the foreign body surgically also. There are four methods in general. There are four methods to remove the foreign body. One is the ring probe. Second is the suction. Third is the ear syringing with the water. And fourth is the surgical removal. Commonly, we use the local anesthesia for the removal of the foreign bodies. But in certain cases, we use general anesthesia also to remove the foreign bodies, particularly when the patient is very small child or the patient is uh, an mentally retarded. The patient is mentally retarded, and we are unable to remove the foreign body under the local anesthesia. Then we go for the general anesthesia. Can we use the forceps to remove the foreign body? No, we cannot use the forceps to remove the foreign body. Because if you will use the forceps to remove the foreign body, instead of removing it, you can push the foreign body inside and it will be very difficult to remove the foreign body. Now, what are the foreign bodies which can be removed with the ring probe? The rounded foreign bodies can be removed with the ring probe. You can also remove these rounded foreign bodies with the ear syringing also. But commonly, the ring probe is used, and easily these foreign bodies can be removed, which are very smooth and rounded foreign bodies. If there is insect into the extraocular canal, suppose करें मच्छर चला गया, ये commonly पूछा जाता है कि भाई कान में मच्छर चला गया तो क्या करेंगे? So whenever there are the insects into the external auditory canal, then there are two things, two steps. One is to install the oil into the external canal, or you can install the uh, water into the external canal. The main thing is that the first thing is to kill the insect, and commonly we prescribe the oil to put into the external canal, and this oil will cause the choking of the respiratory system of this insect. Insect will die, and you can remove this insect either with the ring probe or with the suction or with the ear cerebellum. Suction is the apparatus which sucks out all the things, all abnormal things which are present into the external auditory canal. So it has got a suction power, it sucks out the things which are present into the external auditory canal. And the last one is the surgical removal. What are the foreign bodies which can be removed surgically? Those foreign bodies which are infected into the external auditory canal, they are always removed surgically by giving a post-oral incision. We will give the post-oral incision. We will open the middle ear cavity from the post-oral incision and we can remove the foreign bodies surgically. These are the foreign bodies which are infected into the external canal. And the commonest position of the external canal where these foreign bodies are infected is about 5 millimeters away from the tympanic membrane, which is the narrowest part of the bony portion of the external canal, which is called the isthmus. I think it is clear. Now, the second condition is the malignant otitis externa. What is the malignant otitis externa? The malignant otitis externa is the condition, is the infected condition of the external auditory canal, and the infection occurs with the pseudomonas. So it is the pseudomonal infection of the external auditory canal particularly. This infection is common in the immunocompromised patients. What are the immunocompromised patients? The immunocompromised patients are like diabetic patients, like the patients with the tuberculosis, like the patient with the AIDS, like the patient with the carcinomas. These are all immunocompromised patients. If these immunocompromised patients will have the pseudomonal infection into the external canal, then it will give rise, may give rise to malignant otitis externa. What it will cause? This is very, very important. First thing is that it will cause the osteitis. What is osteitis? It is the acute inflammation of the bone. So the bone which is present into the external canal will get infected, will be inflamed, and this acute inflammation is called the osteitis. This osteitis will change into the osteomyelitis after a short period of time. This is the chronic inflammation of the bone. So acute inflammation, osteitis will change into the chronic inflammation of the bone, which is known as the osteomyelitis. So whenever there is the osteomyelitis of the bone becomes weak, and this weakest bone will cause the involvement of the different cranial nerves. अब वो कौन सी cranial nerves है? If it involves the stylomastoid foramen, you know that the stylomastoid foramen is very near to the extra-aortic canal. So the first foramen to be involved is the stylomastoid foramen. Stylomastoid foramen से क्या निकलता है? कौन सी nerve निकलती है? Facial nerve. So when the stylomastoid foramen is involved, it will cause the facial nerve paralysis. If it will involve the base of the skull and it involves the jugular foramen, then what will happen? Jugular foramen contains last 4 cranial nerves, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. So what will happen? Definitely it will cause the paralysis of the last 4 cranial nerves. And if it involves the petrous apex से कौन सी nerves निकलती है? 5th and 6th cranial nerves. And when the 5th and 6th cranial nerves are involved, it will give rise to Grady-Bose syndrome. It may also involve the sigmoid sinus and the meninges And if the sigmoid sinus is involved, it will give rise to the intravascular thrombosis. And this involvement of the sigmoid sinus and meninges is the fatal most condition into the malignant hepatitis external. So I repeat it once again that if it involves the stylomastoid foramen, the patient now will be paralyzed. If it involves the jugular foramen, the last four cranial nerve will be paralyzed. If it involves the pretus apex, the fifth and sixth cranial nerves will be paralyzed, giving rise to the Grenigos syndrome. Grenigos syndrome क्या है वो आगे चल के पढ़ेंगे. And if it involves the sigmoid sinus, it will cause the thrombosis, and the meninges will cause the meningitis, which is the fatal most condition. Now, coming to the clinical features, definitely there is inflammation, there is pain. There is inflammation, so there is discharge, but it is foul smelling and bloody stent discharge minded. Always the discharge is foul smelling and blood stem. And when you will see the extrahepatic canal, you can see the red, bleeding, granulation tissue present into the extrahepatic canal. So this granulation tissue, why this granulation tissue occurs? Always the granulation tissue occurs in those areas where there is inflammation and repair going side by side. If there is the inflammation, there is a necrosis of the bone. Again, there is a repair of the bone, and this will give rise to the granulation tissue. And this granulation tissue is always red in color, and it is bleed to touch because this granulation tissue contains more blood vessels. Always and always, everywhere in the body, wherever there is a granulation tissue formation, it is red in color and it is bleed to touch because it contains more nerves and more blood vessels. Again, the clinical features, as I told you that there are multiple cranial palsies and there is the Grenigos syndrome present in some identifications. So, pain, blood stain, foul smelling discharge, granulation tissues present in the extrahepatic canal, multiple cranial nerve palsies, and the Grenigos syndrome. If these clinical features altogether are present, it is the malignant hepatitis external. Now this is the extrahepatic canal. You can see the whitish material present into the extrahepatic canal. This is actually the desquamated epithelium. This is the desquamated skin from the bone of the extrahepatic canal due to the damage to the extrahepatic canal. And now this portion, you know that you can see the redness, somewhere a whiteness, somewhere whiteness, somewhere redness. This is the granulation tissue which is present into the extrahepatic canal. So this granulation tissue is formed due to the damage to the bone of the extrahepatic canal side by side with the repair of the external auditory canal. How can you treat it? Definitely it is the pseudomonal infection. So you give the antibiotic which is sensitive to the pseudomonal infection. First you go for the culture and sensitivity. You take the swab for the culture and sensitivity and see that which one bacteria is responsible for the disease and which antibiotic is sensitive to that bacteria. So you will give the antibiotic after the culture and sensitivity. Again, the same antibiotic you can give as a topical antibiotic in the form of drops because there is the damage to the extrahepatic canal. There is the formation of the granulation tissue, which also contain the bacteria. So, in order to kill those bacteria which are present into the extrahepatic canal topically, you give the topical antibiotic in the form of drops. If the patient is diabetic or the patient is immunocompromised, the best thing is that control the diabetes. If it is leave the patient of tuberculosis, control the tuberculosis. If he is the patient of AIDS, control the AIDS. If he is the patient of carcinoma, try to control the carcinoma, try to improve the immunocompression, try to improve the immunity of the patient. So this is the most important step in the treatment of this disease. The best thing is that first improve patient status and then give the topical antibiotics and general antibiotics. If there is a necrosis of the bone, if the discharge is foul smelling in blood stain, and if the degradation tissue is present into the external canal, there is the treatment of choice is the surgical debridement. What is debridement? Debridement is that surgically we will remove the granulation tissue and we will remove the necrotic bone. This is called the surgical debridement. So I repeat it once again. The sensitive antibiotic against the Pseudomonas, topical antibiotic, sensitive against the Pseudomonas, improve the immunity of the patient by controlling the comorbid diseases, and the surgical debridement if the granulation tissue is present. So we will move on to the next topic, which is the VEX into the ear. What is VEX? VEX is the basically the secretions of the cerebellous glands and the sweat glands which are present in the external canal. Where the glands are present, which part of the external canal these glands are present? In the bony portion or in the cartilaginous portion? Definitely they are present into the cartilaginous portion because the hair follicles are present into the cartilaginous portion, and these cerebellous glands and sebaceous glands are in conjugation with the hair follicles. So they are present in the cartilaginous portion of the external canal. And always mind it that the wax is formed into the cartilaginous portion of the external auditory canal, because this wax is formed from the secretions of the cerebellous and sebaceous glands of the external canal. What are the contents of wax? Now, there are three most important contents of the wax. One is water, one is volatile substances, and number three is ash. Ash means sodium, potassium, calcium, copper. So water, volatile substances, which are the secretions of the basically secretions of the cerebellous and sebaceous gland, in conjugation with the ash, which contains sodium, potassium, calcium, and copper. So all these things they mix together and form the wax. Now the second question arises that why the wax accumulates. Normally, when the wax is formed into the extraoratory canal, it is removed automatically when we use our temporomandibular joint. When the temporomandibular joint is moving, how the temporomandibular joint is formed? We know that the roof of the temporomandibular joint is formed by the floor of the cartilage of the extraoratory canal. So when we move the temporomandibular joint, we move the mandible. The head of the mandible is present into the joint socket. So this head movement of the mandible takes place. It will move the cartilage of the extraoratory canal, which forms the roof of the temporomandibular joint. So whenever there is a movement of the external auditory canal, this wax is removed with that movement. It is removed automatically. But in certain conditions, there is accumulation of wax. It cannot be removed automatically. Why? Because number one, whenever there is excessive formation of wax, जितनी वैक्स निकलती है उससे ज्यादा बन रही है, जितनी वैक्स निकलती है उससे ज्यादा बन रही है, तो जितनी ज्यादा बनेगी, तो that will be accumulated. So excessive formation of wax, number one. Number two, stiff hairs. If the hairs in the extraoratory canal are very stiff, then the wax cannot be removed easily. Number 3, exostosis of the extra canal. Exostosis क्या होता है? Exostosis में न्यू बोन फॉर्मेशन हो जाती है इन एक्स्ट्रा canal. छोटे छोटे बोन्स फॉर्म हो जाते हैं. जब ये छोटे छोटे बोन फॉर्म हो जाएंगे तो डेफिनेटली एक्स्ट्रा कैनाल में स्टेनोसिस हो जाएगी. स्टेनोसिस हो जाएगी, साइज कम हो जाएगी. साइज कम हो जाएगी तो वेक्स निकलने से. So exostosis is again one cause where the wax accumulation takes place. Number 5, desquamation. Desquamation normally होती रहती है. Desquamation क्या है? There is the removal of the skin of the body is known as desquamation. Every time our skin is going to be regenerated. जो सुपरफिशियल पोर्शन है स्किन का वो डिस्क्रोमेट होता है, उतर जाता है और नई स्किन बन जाती है. ये कुदरत की कानून है ताकि एनवायरनमेंट में जितने भी बैक्टीरिया अटैच होते हैं स्किन में वो सारे शेड ऑफ हो जाए. सो दिस प्रोसेस ऑफ द शेडिंग ऑफ द ओल्ड द स्किन एंड द न्यू स्किन इज फॉर्म. दिस प्रोसेस इज नोन एज द डिस्क्रिमिनेशन. कुछ लोगों में डिस्क्रिमिनेशन स्लो होती है, कुछ लोगों में डिस्क्रिमिनेशन फास्ट होती है. तो ऑल those patients who have got the fast desquamation, they can also give rise to the accumulation of the wax. क्योंकि वो अमाउंट बढ़ जाता है. एक तो वैक्स भी है, ऊपर से डेस्क्वेमेटेड मटेरियल भी है. ये दोनों मिलके बड़ा अमाउंट बना लेते हैं और इट इज वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू गिव. एंड लास्ट इज द स्टेनोजिंग कंडीशंस ऑफ द एक्स्ट्रा कैनाल. वाइल हो गया, एक्सॉस्टोसिस हो गई, स्वेलिंग हो गई, कोई भी पोटाइटिस एक्सटर्ना हो गया, कोई भी ऑब्स्ट्रक्शन हो गई जैसे फॉरेन बॉडी में. तो all those stenosing conditions will again give rise to the accumulation of the wax. So I repeat it once again: the excessive formation of wax, number 1, stiff hairs, number 2, exostosis, number 3, desquamation, number 4, and stenosing conditions, number 5. All these conditions give rise to the accumulation of wax. क्लिनिकल फीचर्स क्या होंगे? पेशेंट क्या किस तकलीफ से आएगा और क्या बोलेगा डॉक्टर को? Sometimes when you examine the extraordinary canal, you can see that the brown colored wax is present in the extraordinary canal, but there are no symptoms. So the symptoms do not appear until and unless the whole of the extraordinary canal is filled with the wax, or it is a hard wax which causes pressure on the tympanic membrane, so that it will give rise to the clinical features and the patient will come with the symptoms and signs. So in majority of the cases where the removal of the wax is very easy, there are no symptoms. You can see the wax into the extraordinary canal, but it is in a very small amount, so it does not give rise any symptoms. So the patient may be with no symptoms. In some of the patients, there are symptoms like fullness of ear. The whole of the extraordinary canal is filled with the wax. So what will happen? There will be the fullness of ear. Kaan bhara bhara hai, Dr. Saab. This is the main complaint of the patient. Then there is itching. Patient has got so much itching that he uses his little finger to put into the extraordinary canal to scratch it, and there is a lot of itching. So fullness of the ear and itching. Then again deafness. The whole of the extraordinary canal is full and closed. Then it will give rise to the conductive type of the deafness. Earache. Why there is earache? Again, there is pressure on the extraordinary canal, skin and the sensory nerves, and will give rise to the earache. Whenever there is a deafness, which type of deafness it will give rise? It will give rise to the conductive type of the deafness, because the defect is present into the extraordinary canal. So whenever there is a defect into the pinna, into the extraordinary canal, into the tympanic membrane, or into the ossicles of the middle ear, it will give rise up to the middle ear. There is any defect, it will give rise to the conductive deafness. If there is any defect into the internal ear, and when the nerves are involved, then it will give rise to the sensory neural deafness. So In this condition, the deafness will be the conductive type of the deafness. Earache tinnitus, whenever there is a deafness, there is tinnitus minded. Either the patient has got the conductive deafness or the patient has got the sensory neural deafness, it will give rise to the tinnitus. This is a very common presentation. आप भी तजर्बा करके देखें, अपनी एक्सट्रा कैनाल उंगली से बंद करें, तो it will give rise to the conductive deafness. खुद आप अगर गौर करेंगी तो tinnitus भी उसके साथ साथ होगा. So reflex cough again due to the stimulation of the auricular branch of the vagus. Now, sometimes it causes pressure on the secondary tympanic membrane, and whenever there is the pressure on the secondary tympanic membrane, there is the excessive movement of the endolymph and perilymph into the internal ear, which can give rise to the vertigo. So we will repeat it once again that the patient may have no symptoms. There may be the fullness of ear, there may be the itching, there may be the deafness, conductive type of deafness, there may be the earache, there may be the tinnitus, there may be the reflex cough, and there may be the vertigo. What is the treatment? Again, definitely there is a wax, so we have to remove it. But there are different methods to remove the wax. But before removing the wax, it is very important that the wax which is to be removed should be very, very soft. If it is hard, then definitely it will cause the scratching of the skin of the external aortic canal. And whenever there is a scratching, there is always bacteria are present into the external aortic canal and will give rise to what? Infection. So it is more better that you should not remove the hard wax. If you think that it is a hard, make it soft. How can you make the wax soft? You give the ear drops of soda glycerin. Soda glycerin. I repeat it once again, soda glycerin. You give the bright drops of soda glycerin. It has got two things. One is the सोडा जो आप यूज करते हैं खाने में, और दूसरी ग्लिसरीन. ग्लिसरीन जो है वो सूदिंग इफेक्ट के लिए है. सोडा जो है वो वैक्स को डिसइंटीग्रेट करती है, उनको टुकड़ों में डिसइंटीग्रेट करती है. जो पूरा प्लग है वो डिसइंटीग्रेट होगा टुकड़ों. So this all soda glycerin will give rise the smaller pieces of the wax, and this glycerin will make it soft. So you will have to first soften the hard wax. Then you will remove. You can remove with the ring probe again. You can use the syringing. You can use the suction to remove the wax. So there are three methods. First of all, to soften the wax. Then you can remove with the ring probe. But it is very difficult to remove with the ring probe, and you need more expertise once again. So we do not use the ring probe. You can damage the skin of the external canal. You can damage the tympanic membrane very easily with the ring probe. Syringing is again an old method. Sometimes when the suction is not available, we use the syringing. But commonly we use the suction nowadays for the removal of the wax. It is an apparatus which sucks this wax very easily in minutes. So the suction is very easy method and commonly used. Now we will talk a few things about the syringing of the ear. क्या indications हैं syringing, कहाँ syringing हम कर सकते हैं? It is not only the wax which can be removed, but we can use it in otomycosis. If there is the fungal infection, there is a formation of fungal ball into the external canal, we can remove it with the syringing. Foreign body, yes, the rounded foreign body, we can use it with the syringing very easily. So three indications are very important. One is the wax. You can remove the wax with the syringing. You can remove the otomycosis with the syringing, and you can remove the foreign body with the syringing. What are the contraindications where the syringing cannot be used? Number one is the acute and chronic infections of the external canal. if suppose there is a boil in the extra-aortic canal, or there is a swelling in the extra-aortic canal, or there is inflammation in the extra-aortic canal, and if you are using the syringing, what you syringe in, definitely you syringe in the water, which is a normal saline, which you syringe into the extra-aortic canal. So this water may aggravate the infection. So acute and chronic infections is a contraindication for syringing. Perforated eardrum. If there is a perforation into the eardrum, you cannot use the syringing bugger. This water will go into the internal ear, behind the tympanic membrane, not in the internal ear, but behind the tympanic membrane, and it will accumulate behind the tympanic membrane and give rise to the infection, secondary infection. So if the perforation is dry, it may give rise, there is no infection, there is a dry perforation into the eardrum, it may change into the wet perforation and the infection into the middle ear, if you are using water and it is accumulated in the middle ear. So the contraindications are acute and chronic infections into the extra-aortic canal, and number two, the perforation of the eardrum. These two things are always the contraindications. अब अगर हम syringing यूज नहीं करेंगे तो क्या यूज करेंगे? कि निकालना तो है, वेक्स तो प्रेजेंट है, so then we use the suction because it is the safest method. Again, ring probe use करने से परहेज की जाए. So whenever there is the contraindication of the syringing, we use the suction very easily. क्या complications हो सकती हैं syringing की? Definitely, you are pushing water into the extra-aortic canal, it will cause trauma. आप एक स्टील की सिरिंज है, बाकायदा एक पर्टिकुलर सिरिंज है फॉर द सिरिंजिंग ऑफ द ईयर, और उस सिरिंज से भी आप ट्रामा कर सकते हैं, उसकी नोजल से, या जो आप पानी डाल रहे हैं अंदर वो आपको ट्रामा दे सकता है टू द एक्स्ट्रा-आर्टरी कैनाल. अगर डायरेक्ट पानी जो है वो विद प्रेशर आप डालेंगे, इट मे गिव राइज टू द परफोरेशन ऑफ द tympanic membrane. If you have given the trauma to the extra-aortic canal, it will give rise to the infection of the extra-aortic canal and will cause otitis externa. वर्टाइगो भी होता है, बहुत सारे पेशेंट्स में वर्टाइगो होता है सिरिंजिंग. क्यों होता है? अब जो पानी आप यूज करते हैं सिरिंजिंग में, that water should be of the body temperature. If the water is very hot, it will give rise to the vertigo. If the water is very cold, it will give rise to the vertigo. Because this hot water and cold water, this heat and cold, coolness and heatness, this will go into the secretions which are present, into the fluids which are present into the internal ear. आपको internal ear में जो fluid है, endolymph or perilymph, that have got the temperature which is equal to the body temperature. If they become very hot, then what will happen? They move very fast. They have vertigo. If they become cold, again they move very fast and will give rise to the vertigo. If they are on the body temperature, they are standstill. There is no movement if the patient is at rest. Or if there is a movement, then there is a normal movement. But if they become hot or cold, then definitely they move very fast and give rise to the vertigo. So, trauma to the extra-aortic canal, perforation of the tympanic membrane, otitis externa, and vertigo. These are the complications of the syringing. अब कैसे syringing की जाती है? What is the method of doing the syringing? Now, this is a syringe which is used for the syringing of the extra-aortic canal. This is a nozzle, and this is a handle which is pushed inside. This contains water. This is a body. This contains water, about 30 ml of water is contained into the body. And by this handle, we can push the water inside, and it goes through this nozzle into the external body canal. This is an specialized syringe for the syringing of the ear. Now, ये देखिए, ये सिरिंज जो है वो पानी से भरा हुआ है. इसकी नोजल जो है वो एक्स्ट्रा-आर्टरी कैनाल में रखी हुई है, और इससे जो है हैंडल से ये पुश कर रही है डॉक्टर साहबा वाटर इनसाइड इनटू द एक्सटर्नल ऑडिटरी कैनाल। ये किडनी ट्रे है जो पेशेंट जो है वो अपने हाथ से कान के नीचे रखता है ताकि पानी जो है उसके कपड़ों को खराब ना करे, और जो चीज़ एक्सटर्नल ऑडिटरी कैनाल से वैक्स निकलेगी या फंगस निकलेगा या फॉरेन बॉडी निकलेगी, दैट विल बी कलेक्टेड इनटू दिस किडनी ट्रे। नाउ व्हाट टेक्निक ये है कि this nozzle of the external auditory, the syringe, the nozzle of the syringe, the nozzle of the syringe will be directed to the roof of the external auditory canal. ये जो syringe का जो nozzle है ये directed होगा towards the roof of the external auditory canal. So when you will push the water, it will touch the roof of the external auditory canal. That will come down towards the floor, and it will take this plug of the wax with it outside and is collected into the kidney tray. So the main thing is that this nozzle should be towards the roof of the external auditory canal. The main catch is that if it is straight, it may push this foreign body or wax towards the tympanic membrane and will cause the perforation of the tympanic membrane, or may cause the damage to the skin of the external auditory canal and then give rise to the infection. So the best thing is that you should push the water towards the roof of the external auditory canal so that it will come back to the floor, taking this rounded foreign body or the plug of the wax exterior, which is collected into the kidney tray. Now you can see the wax. It has come out very easily. Huge amount of wax. It will be collected into this kidney tray. So this is a brown colored wax. So we will go on the next topic, the last one, which is the megars. What are megars? Megars are the larvae of the house fly. Whenever there is the chronic infection of the middle ear, there is a discharge present into the external auditory canal. The house flies are attracted towards the external auditory canal. They sit there and they lay eggs into the external auditory canal, and these eggs are hatched into the larva, and these larvae are called the megars. I repeat it once again. The house flies are attracted to the external auditory canal if there is infection into the external auditory canal, or there is a pus present into the external auditory canal. These house flies are attracted. They lay eggs there. These eggs are hatched within 2-3 days and give rise to the larvae, which are known as the megars. These larvae are now present into the external auditory canal. They may also be present into the nose. So megars are present either into the external auditory canal or into the nose, one and the same thing. What could be the clinical features? Definitely, these larvae are not only present into the external auditory canal, but they are attached to the skin of the external auditory canal, and they eat up, they damage the skin of the external auditory canal. So definitely, they give the pain. Foreign body is present into the external auditory canal. They give rise the irritation. There is a damage to the external auditory canal. They give rise swelling. Whenever there is infection, there is foul smelling discharge. It could be a blood-stained discharge. So pain, irritation, swelling, foul smell discharge, and the blood-stained discharge are the main clinical features for these megars. These are the megars. Can you see these? This is a larva. This is a larva. So these are thousands of larvas, even hundreds of larvas, which are present into the external auditory canal. When we remove it, it could be 70, 80, 90 larvas. These are again the larvas which are present inside the external auditory canal. They look like this. Treatment is again the removal, but with the forceps, because every larva you have to pick up with the forceps. First thing, which is very important again, is that it is just like an animate foreign body. So what is the treatment of animate foreign body? Definitely first you have to kill it. Otherwise what will happen? It will move inside. If the tympanic membrane is not damaged, they will damage the tympanic membrane while removing. So before removal, it is very important that you should kill them. And how will you kill them? There is a present term maggot oil, which is present into the bazaar or onto medical stores. It contains water and chloroform. So, or number third is the turpentine oil. So water, chloroform, and turpentine oil. They three things, they are mixed together to form the maggot oil. What the turpentine oil will do? It will choke the respiratory system of the larva. What the chloroform will do? बेहोश हो जाएंगे ना क्लोरोफॉर्म से. जब ये बेहोश हो जाएंगे तो मूवमेंट नहीं करेंगे. So anesthetize them. So first thing is choke the respiratory system with the turpentine oil, anesthetize them with the chloroform, and water is the basis. So that you need a base, so that you should put the chloroform and the turpentine oil inside. So these three things are put into the ear. This will cause the death of the larva, and now after the death of the larva, you can remove the larva with the forceps. You can see this. This is the extraordinary canal. It's the whole ear, and we have taken this larva with the forceps outside. You need a basin with water, and you put the larva into the water, hot water. अगर कोई larva नहीं मरा हुआ, जिंदा है, तो this may give rise the infection to the others also. अगर ये उड़ के किसी कार में चला गया, तो वहाँ पे भी infection हो सकता है, किसी दूसरे को भी infection हो सकता है. So when you remove the larva, you put these larvas into a basin which contains the hot water, so that due to the hot water, they become dry. So this is all about today's lecture. And inshallah, on next Thursday, we will move further and will give you some tips about the infections of the middle ear. Alia, unmute kare. So if there, I'm going to unmute you. If there is any question, you can ask me very easily. Any question?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
सर जो मैगट्स को रिमूव करने के लिए जो आपने ड्रॉप्स बताए उनका नाम बताएं प्लीज.
मैगट्स को रिमूव करने के लिए
जी सर.
इट इज अ मैगट ऑयल. मैगट ऑयल.
यस सर.
लिखिए इसको, मैगट ऑयल which contain the chloroform, turpentine oil and water.
Yes sir.
Okay.
Okay sir. Yes sir. और सर जो आपने मेथड्स टू रिमूवल के जो मेथड्स बताए जिसमें सक्शन, सिरिंजिंग एंड सर्जिकल था, द फोर्थ वन क्या था सर?
ये मैगट्स के लिए तो नहीं बताए थे मैंने.
नहीं सर, मैगट्स के लिए नहीं बताया, ये आपने उसमें बताई थी जो फॉरेन बॉडी स्टार्ट की थी ना, उसमें बताई कि मेथड्स ऑफ रिमूवल 4 मेथड्स.
फॉरेन बॉडी यू कैन रिंग प्रोब. रिंग प्रोब, ठीक है. रिंग प्रोब जो है एक इंस्ट्रूमेंट है जिससे ये हार्ड और राउंड फॉरेन बॉडी रिमूव करते हैं.
ओके सर.
एनी अदर क्वेश्चन?
यस सर.